Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
India's first quarter, that is 21-22 financial year, growth data is out, GDP data, and as you know, the headline figure looks brilliant, 20.1% growth. I will look at what clutter lies underneath this. Now, you might say this is fantastic. Depending on your politics, you will say fantastic, well done Modi ji. Or depending on your politics, you will say, oh, this is on the back of a quarter that had 24.4% decline. So what have you done? You've only destroyed more wealth. So the truth in these situations is usually in the middle somewhere, or there are many truths there. So the best thing is to look at data. Now, if I was inclined one way or the other, or if CTC was in the habit of giving you partisan views one way or the other, then I could follow the old lines from that 1970 Hindi film Safar. जो तुमको हो पसंद वही बात कहेंगे, जो दिन को तुम दिन को अगर रात कहो रात कहेंगे. तो हम दिन को रात नहीं कहेंगे, because that was okay for Feroz Khan to be serenading Sharmila Tagore, but not for a journalist. A journalist has to look at data. So first of all, the headline data is 20.1%. Now, if you look at this 20.1%, you will say fantastic. In this quarter, actually, India is the fastest growing economy in the world. Fantastic. But fastest compared to what? That is the nut graph of this discussion. Fastest growing compared to the fastest declining in the corresponding quarter last year. That is the Q1 or quarter 1 of financial year 2021. India's economy declined by 24.4%. This quarter compared to that quarter, that's how you do year-on-year comparison in statistics. This quarter compared to that quarter has gone up by 20%. So actually the base had further gone down, because in that quarter India declined by 24.4%. So you can see what this growth means. At the same time, any growth is good, a double-digit growth is great. 20% growth is greater, 20.1% in fact, but it would have taken a lot more even to wipe away the deficit of last year's corresponding quarter's degrowth or decline. So let me try and simplify it, and I am seeking help from a column that we just published from Bloomberg by Andy Mukherjee, my favorite columnist. He's actually broken it down very nicely for those who are challenged with math, basic arithmetics and calculations like me. And I suspect quite a few of you, maybe I'm sure all of you are better than me, but maybe also face the same challenges. Now, as I explained to you how these comparisons are made, it's also important for me to underline to you what exactly does GDP mean. GDP means total monetary value. Monetary is money. So simplify, declutter. Total money value of goods and services produced in an economy net of inflation. That's why very often you will see on business channels also people saying, oh, my real growth rate is this much, my nominal growth rate is this much. So nominal growth rate always looks higher than real growth rate. What is the difference? Nominal growth rate is the entire growth including at whatever prices exist today. But there is also inflation. So when you reduce your inflation from your nominal growth, then you get the net figure, that is your real growth. And that gives you the value of the economic goods and services that you produced. And that for comparisons is benchmarked to 2011-12 prices. So nobody says, "Arey, us time to prices itne kam the, ab prices itne zyada hai." Not like that. It's all benchmarked to 2011-12 prices. Now, if those prices, again, apples for apples comparison, Andy Mukherjee says in quarter 1 of 2019-20, India produced a total economic output or total GDP in that quarter of about 36 lakh crores. That is 36 trillion rupees. In terms of dollars, I'd say about $500 billion, precisely about 35.6, but I'll be rounding off many of these figures as we go along. Some of the precise details you will see on the charts. So he says, if you give it a value of 100, that is for ease of calculation, again for people who are not very smart with math like me, and I suspect many of you. Once again, all of you are smarter than me, I know, but many of you will have the same challenges. So suppose, as we were taught arithmetic in class 3, 4 or 5, suppose this figure in quarter 1 of 1920 was 100, right? For ease of calculation, if that was 100 and India's economy was growing at 7% as it was earlier in the previous 5 years, in that case this 100 in first quarter 2021-22 should have become 114 rupees, right? On the other hand, if you see what the total economic output we have produced with 20.1% growth in this quarter, in this brilliant quarter, we've just produced about 32 trillion rupees or 32 lakh crore rupees. So again, it's all at constant prices, benchmark to 11-12. So actually, even with this growth, you are still way behind where you were in the first quarter of 1920. So again, if you benchmark to 100 rupees in this case, if the first quarter 2019-20 was 100 rupees, first quarter 2021 is 91 rupees. Even at 7% growth, which was our average before that for 5 years, India should have been at 114. So what's happened is that instead of being 114, you are 91. That means you have a deficit of 23. If you just make straight percentages, you've actually shaved 1/5 from your economy in this quarter compared to where our economy was exactly 2 years ago in the same quarter. So that is the reality check that we have to see. Now, I could have told you this in a more complicated manner, but you can go and find your professor of economics for doing that. I am simply reading up from Andy Mukherjee because he's given the simplest possible explanation in this. So once again, let me then further simplify it. If India's economy was a stock, so here is how it works. If you invested 1 crore rupees in the India stock or Indian GDP stock in June or the end of June 2019, to be sold or to be encashed end of June 2021 after 2 years, you've got 91 rupees. So 9 rupees is your loss on a literal basis, but if you add inflation, etc., that is a lot more. So you've actually wiped out 20% of your wealth. So what was 1 crore in 2019 first quarter is today worth 80 lakhs in 2021. That is one way of understanding what's happened to our economy even after this 20% growth. Yet 20% growth is very good. Now the fact is that India's economy had been slowing down even before the pandemic. Last year the pandemic became a big reason and the excuse, but even before the economy had been declining. Now how it was declining? Now if you see quarter to quarter basis, see how this earthworm is crawling. Initially it crawls a little bit higher, then it crawls as most earthworms usually do, flat, and then it begins to dig a little bit or go lower, and then it starts to dig below the ground and suddenly it goes deep into the ground. That you can understand. That happened in 2021 because of the lockdown, etc. But even before that, so where do we take the cutoff? Let's take the cutoff, say, in financial year 14-15. Because Mr. Modi takes over in May of 2014. So that is in this first quarter of financial year 2014-15. So let's look there. Let me also ignore the first quarter because Mr. Modi can't be held responsible for the entire first quarter because he only came in towards the end of May and then he set up his government, etc. So quarter 2, fantastic growth, 8.7%. Quarter 3, the worm goes down and you will see it on our screen, 5.9%. Then it starts picking up, 7.1%. Then 15-16, again you see the 4 quarters, 7.6, great. 8, great. 7.2, still all right, very good, because the base is also going up as the economy is growing. Then 9.1, 15.16. That was a heady moment. And that is when India was telling the whole world that we are the fastest growing large economy in the world and we leave China behind, etc., etc. And I suspect even the thought of a 5 trillion economy, etc., would have come at that point of time, because if it had grown at 9-10%, from then on, so you might even have had a realistic chance of reaching a $5 trillion economy by, say, 2025. Now it's not going to happen. So 9.1, that was the peak in 15-16. Then something began to happen. So look at the financial year 16-17. Again, Modi Sarkar, 16-17, first quarter 8.7, very healthy. After 9.1 growth, 8.7. Second quarter of 16-17, 9.7, fantastic. Even with the new parameters that Modi government had set for calculating growth, it was nearly double-digit growth. And that was a very heady feeling. So what happens when you get such a heady feeling? Sometimes you end up doing things that are too adventurous, and something overly adventurous did happen around that time. 9.7, the next quarter is 8.6. So by third quarter, you are doing reasonably okay. And then you decline. So from 9.7 to 8.6, 8.6 to 6.3, right? See the worm. After that, 17-18 financial year, quarter 1 6.1, quarter 2 5.3, quarter 3 6.7, quarter 4 8.9. So again the feeling that maybe things are settling down, but things are not, because again 18-19 begins and 4 quarters are 7.6, 6.5, 6.3, 5.8. There is no pandemic as yet. Then 1920, Mr. Modi has a new mandate now. 1920, what was 5.8 in the last quarter of 18-19 now becomes 5.4, niche, then 4.6, further niche, then 3.3, further niche, then 3.0. India had not seen 3% growth for a long time, not since the global financial crisis year of 2008. So India got a growth rate as low as the growth rate of the global financial crisis in 2019-20, which was a big surprise. Nobody had accepted this. And then came 2021, and we know what happened in 2021. The first quarter was 24% minus, 24.4. Second quarter was minus 7.4. These were the lockdown months. Then economy stabilized at that level, 0.5% growth, 1.6% growth. We are coming on top of that. So that is one way of understanding Modi government's economic performance over 7 years, while taking out the abnormal year of the pandemic. The economy had been in a downturn. The economy had gone on a downward slope, and what happens is, so when a big economy starts rolling down or starts going on a decline, then you know what happens is that heavier the body, the bigger the mass, the bigger the momentum, the bigger the impact. So what is momentum? It is mass into acceleration. So this Indian degrowth began to accelerate, and you can see it happening in 18-19 and 19-20. So you were already on a downward spiral, you were hurtling down. It was difficult to stop that decline, and then came the pandemic. So pandemic you blame God for. What was happening before pandemic, you are a voter, you figure out who to vote for, but I can tell you that the economy had been in a bad way even before the pandemic came. And that's why you are seeing a situation now where 1 quarter of 20% growth still takes you back maybe to 2018. I will tell you precisely where. Now, before I go to year-on-year comparisons, let me also tell you what constitutes GDP. What constitutes GDP is basically 4 things. I mean, any economist or any economics teacher will tell you, you can Google it as I have done, but let me just explain it. So the first is PFC, that is private final consumption expenditure. That is money that you and I spend when we buy services, we buy goods, we take a flight, we rent a hotel room, we put fuel in our car, we buy a house, etc., etc. We take a housing loan, pay interest on that. All that is private consumption. You have an ice cream, you have a pizza, maybe you have something healthier than that, whatever you choose. That is private consumption. That has a very heavy weight in India's GDP. That is upwards of 50%. At this point, it is upwards of 55%. So that is the biggest contributor. The second one is GFCF, that is gross fixed capital formation. That depends on the demand by the private sector. So private sector that produces things, your factories manufacturing cars, or your banks investing in whatever they are doing. So this is all the demand of the private sector. That has a 32% weight in our GDP. So 56 is individuals' private consumption, 32% is private sector's private consumption. So the third factor is government final consumption expenditure. That is the amount of money government spends. That accounts in India for about 11% of our GDP. And the fourth is the net of our exports and imports. So we import a lot, we export a lot. Actually, we import a lot more than we export. So the effect of that on GDP is negative. But the better your trade balance, the better the impact on GDP will be, in the sense that it will be less negative. So this quarter, India has seen a heavy rise in exports that I am sure must have helped. But if you look at the rest, everything else is down. If you see, for example, the first element, that is private final consumption expenditure, that is down even in this quarter to 2017-18 first quarter levels. Right? If you look at gross fixed capital formation, that is the demand by private industry or private economy or private companies, that is back to corresponding quarter of financial year 18-19. There are big declines in these areas. Surprisingly, even if you look at the government expenditure, that is our third one, government final consumption expenditure, even that is down 4.8% even compared to last year. So in fact, even if the government had spent as much as last year, or frankly had spent a bit more, because this is the pandemic time, then even this quarter would have looked much better. So you can see almost nothing is looking great this quarter behind this 20.1% number, except two things. And those are happy things. One, agriculture is doing better and better, which is fantastic. This also runs counter to this larger idea that India's agriculture is in deep distress. Actually, agriculture is doing well. And if you see the CMIE data from Mahesh Vyas, which I will share with you in the course of time, not today, at some other point of time, that tells you the employment picture also is much better for agricultural labor now in India this year than for, say, industrial labor and also for informal labor in our urban areas, because agriculture is growing. So agriculture has done well, electricity supply has done well, everything else, that is services, transport, tourism, etc., all that is down. And those are areas that produce a lot of jobs, particularly white collar jobs. That is where the trouble is. Now, if you look at the total size of India's GDP, I always keep telling you percentages are one thing, absolutes are another thing. Now, for comparisons, for apple to apple comparisons, I also told you that everything is benchmarked or translated into 2011-12 prices. That having been said, now you say I have grown 20%, right? But if you degrew 24% last year in the same quarter, the 20% is more than squared off. Then you should have grown much more to at least make up for what you had lost last year in the same quarter. Similarly, one way of looking at your GDP is looking at absolutes. That is the absolute GDP figure. And once again, constant prices 2011-12. So 14-15, that is the year Mr. Modi takes over. India's total GDP is 105 trillion rupees. If I say lakhs and crores, it will be too confusing for me to say also. So say 105 trillion rupees. That was in 2014-15. 2015-16, it went up to about 113.7 trillion rupees. Next year, that is 16-17, now I'm rounding off figures, 123 trillion rupees. The following year, 131 trillion rupees. So you can see the overall size of the real economy is rising. This is net of inflation. 18-19, 140 trillion rupees. Even better. 19-20, 145 trillion. 145 trillion means you've already gone above the $2 trillion threshold. And you are now imagining that soon you will be a $3 trillion economy and then 4 and 5. What happened in 2021? You were back to 135 trillion. So you were nearly back somewhere between 2017-18 and 2018-19. So you had a 3-year setback. This year, even if you continue growing at a high rate, you might still struggle to go above your total GDP that we had, say, in 17-18. Definitely will struggle to equal what happened in 18-19. I'm not saying it's impossible, miracles can happen, and there are miracle economies. So you can do your calculations. I am not the one to make any calculations and do any speculation. All I am trying to tell you is that even with this 1 quarter of 20.1% growth, India will have to run really hard and successfully without obstacles, hoping that the third wave does not come, and we will have to do all that hard running to maybe land up in the same place as we were maybe in 2018-19, or maybe with great luck 2019-20, but I am not promising that because the deficit is far too much, and the idea of maintaining 10% growth over all subsequent quarters is very challenging. I am not wishing that it doesn't happen, but it is tough. So this is my humble non-economist's, political analyst's explanation on this first quarter growth figures.